Elon Musk went silent for 3 days after China's June 17th rocket test. What happened that night shocked SpaceX engineers worldwide. While everyone focused on Starship explosions, China quietly perfected something SpaceX still struggles with. Their Mengzhou spacecraft executed a flawless escape test, crushing every safety benchmark Crew Dragon ever set. Then came the real blow. China's UK-3 fired 9 engines, generating 7,542 kilonewtons of thrust. That's Falcon heavy power in a single test. But why did this terrify Elon so much? What secret weapon did China reveal that completely changed the space race? Let's dive right in. The desert night that shattered SpaceX's dreams. So what exactly happened that made Elon go silent? Picture this, 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The Gobi Desert stretches endlessly under starlight. No cameras rolling, no press conferences. Just Chinese engineers gathered around a spacecraft that's about to rewrite space history. The Mengzhou sits there like a coiled spring. This isn't your typical rocket launch. This is something far more dangerous and far more impressive. An escape test. The ultimate life or death moment for any astronaut. When everything goes wrong at 25,000 miles per hour, you have exactly 2.5 seconds to live or die. That's how long it takes for catastrophic failure to become, well, catastrophic. SpaceX mastered this years ago with Crew Dragon, right? Wrong. What China just pulled off makes Crew Dragon look like a toy rocket. Here's why. The moment those engines fired, Mengzhou didn't just escape, it performed a perfect symphony of survival. Escape tower ignites, capsule separates, parachutes deploy with surgical precision, airbags inflate exactly on schedule. But here's the part that made NASA engineers drop their coffee. Mengzhou's escape system is completely independent. While SpaceX's Crew Dragon relies on external engines that might fail when you need them most, Mengzhou carries its own guardian angel. It never depends on anyone else to save your life. The difference? It's like having a personal bodyguard versus hoping the security guard isn't on a bathroom break when the building catches fire. And the numbers? Oh, the numbers tell a story that should terrify every American space official. The payload that changes everything. Crew Dragon maxes out at 7 astronauts for short trips. Mengzhou's lunar version? 3 astronauts plus 500 kilograms of serious equipment. That's not a taxi to space. That's a moving van to the moon. Why does this matter? Because China isn't planning quick photo ops on the lunar surface. They're building the infrastructure for permanent occupation. Every kilogram of that payload represents months of sustained lunar operations. Scientific equipment, habitat modules, mining tools, communication arrays. While NASA plans weekend trips, China is preparing to move in permanently. But the escape test was just the opening act. The real show was happening 22,000 miles above our heads, and absolutely nobody saw it coming. The orbital chess match that terrified the Pentagon. While everyone celebrated China's escape test, 2 satellites were playing a deadly game of cosmic tag in geostationary orbit. Shijian-21 had been dormant for months, fuel tanks empty, mission apparently over. Then suddenly, it roared back to life. Thrusters firing, course corrections, precision maneuvers that should have been impossible for a dead satellite. Its target? Shijian-25, positioned 1,500 kilometers away. That's like hitting a golf ball from New York and landing in a coffee cup in Philadelphia. While both cities are moving at 7,000 miles per hour. What happened next made Pentagon officials lose sleep for weeks. Both satellites began an intricate orbital dance. Synchronized movements with clockwork precision, gradually closing the gap between them until contact. But this wasn't just a demonstration of precision. This was China proving they can refuel spacecraft in orbit. Think about what that means for a moment. Every space mission has a fatal limitation, fuel. Run out of gas in space, and your $1,000,000 satellite becomes expensive junk. But if you can refuel in orbit, game over. China just built gas stations on the highway to the moon, discovering while NASA struggles to get Artemis off the ground. After years of delays and budget overruns, China is already mastering the infrastructure for permanent lunar operations. They're not just planning to visit the moon, they're preparing to own it. The nine-engine monster that redefined power. June 20th. Another sleepless night for SpaceX engineers. Deep in the Dongfang commercial space zone, something was about to happen that would make Falcon Heavy look like a firecracker. The Zhuge 3 rocket stood 66 meters tall, 570 metric tons of pure ambition, and at its heart, 9 methane-powered engines ready to rewrite the physics of space travel. When SpaceX first tried multi-engine ignition with Falcon 9, they blew up rockets for years. Trial and error, expensive error, explosive error. China just fired 9 engines simultaneously on their first major test. Let that sink in. They skipped the learning curve entirely. The moment of ignition, 7,542 kilonewtons of thrust shaking the Gobi Desert. That's 850 Formula One cars firing at once. The ground trembled for miles. But here's the part that made Elon's blood run cold. This wasn't even their final form. The fully upgraded Zhuge 3 will generate even more power, potentially exceeding Falcon Heavy's capabilities while costing a fraction of the development budget. China isn't just catching up, they're leapfrogging entire generations of rocket technology. The philosophy that changes everything. Here's what Elon realized that night. This isn't about individual rockets anymore. It's about competing philosophies of space exploration. SpaceX builds rockets like Formula One cars, fast, efficient, optimized for specific missions. Impressive? Absolutely. But limited in scope. China builds rockets like aircraft carriers, massive, versatile, designed for sustained operations across multiple mission profiles. Mengzhou isn't just a spacecraft. It's a space truck, built to haul serious cargo to serious destinations for serious timelines. The lunar version weighs 26 tons fully loaded. That's not a vehicle for quick moon selfies. That's a construction vehicle for building lunar bases. While NASA's Orion capsule focuses on short-duration missions and safe returns, Mengzhou is designed for the long haul, extended lunar operations, permanent human presence, the infrastructure of a spacefaring civilization. This philosophical difference reveals China's true strategy. They're not interested in winning headlines, they're building an empire. The silent war nobody talks about. What happened in those desert tests wasn't just engineering, it was a declaration of war. Economic war, technological war, geopolitical war. The stakes? Control of humanity's expansion beyond Earth. Here's what most people don't realize. The moon isn't just a tourist destination, it's the ultimate strategic high ground. Helium-3 deposits worth trillions of dollars, rare earth minerals essential for modern technology, and most importantly, the perfect launching point for Mars missions and asteroid mining operations. Whoever controls the moon controls the next phase of human civilization. China's timeline, lunar landing by 2030. That's 6 years to establish permanent bases, claim territorial rights, and set the rules for space commerce. NASA's timeline, maybe 2028, if everything goes perfectly and Congress doesn't cut funding again. The math is brutal. China has been playing chess while America played politics. The technology gap that keeps growing. Here's the uncomfortable truth space experts won't admit publicly. In several critical areas, China is already ahead of the United States. Their space station technology surpasses the aging International Space Station. Their satellite navigation system rivals GPS. Their planetary exploration missions achieve objectives NASA hasn't attempted in decades. And now their private companies are matching SpaceX's achievements. Landspace isn't copying Falcon 9. They're innovating beyond it. When private Chinese companies start competing with SpaceX on technical merit, you know something fundamental has shifted. China has created an entire ecosystem of space innovation that generates its own momentum. The technology transfer from government programs to private industry has been flawless. While American companies fight for government contracts, Chinese companies collaborate toward national objectives. It's coordination versus competition, and coordination is winning. The countdown to checkmate. Every successful Chinese test brings them closer to lunar dominance. Every delay in American programs widens the gap. The Mengzhou escape test proved their astronaut safety systems work flawlessly. The orbital refueling demonstration proved they can sustain long-duration missions. The Juke 3 engine test proved they have the heavy lift capability for serious lunar operations. Meanwhile, NASA's Artemis program faces budget cuts, technical delays, and political uncertainty. The Space Launch System costs $4.1 billion per launch and can't be reused. China's systems cost a fraction of that and improve with every mission. The trajectory is clear. By 2030, China will have permanent lunar bases, while America struggles to complete its first crewed lunar landing since 1972. But the real nightmare scenario for American space dominance isn't just losing the moon race. It's realizing that China has been running a completely different race all along. While America focused on individual achievements and media attention, China systematically built the infrastructure for space empire. The secret weapon isn't any single technology. It's their patient, methodical approach to solving every piece of the space colonization puzzle simultaneously. Escape systems, orbital refueling, heavy lift rockets, lunar landers, space stations, satellite constellations, Mars mission planning. While SpaceX revolutionized rocket reusability, China quietly revolutionized space strategy. And that's why Elon went silent for 3 days. He saw the writing on the wall and realized his Mars dreams might have to wait in line behind China's moon empire. So there you have it. China's secret weapon was never about superior rockets or fancy technology. It was about playing the long game while everyone else chased headlines. While SpaceX builds impressive rockets, China builds space empires. While NASA fights budget battles, China executes decade-long strategies. The Mengzhou test wasn't just about astronaut safety, it was about proving they're ready for permanent lunar occupation. And Elon's 3-day silence? He saw what we're all starting to realize. The space race isn't about getting there first anymore. It's about who stays permanently. But here's what I want to know. Are we witnessing the greatest strategic miscalculation in American space history? Or is there still time for the US to change course? Drop your thoughts below. Do you think China's systematic approach will actually work? Or will SpaceX's innovation speed still win the day? And if you're fascinated by how space politics really shape our future, you need to see what Russia's been secretly building while everyone watched China. That video is dropping next week. The space game is changing faster than ever. Don't get left behind.